Wow, hi everyone, fashion editor Georgina Evans here. We're now in the central of Milan. Last time you saw me I was in Florence. Have arrived in Milan. We've come into the centre, but the Zegna show that I'm going to be reporting on now was in the middle of nowhere, really far outskirts of Milan, kind of 45 minutes out from the centre. Normally when this happens you can expect really exciting things from the location, big warehouses taking over spaces, airports dominated, and Zegna are known for being really amazing with their spaces. Last season they took over Milano Centrale, the main station, and that was kind of amazing fanfare. All the ticket readings were saying Zegna, so high hopes for the space, and definitely weren't disappointed. So we turn up at the most amazing, as I say, kind of middle of nowhere, slightly rural, if you can't even say that, on outskirts of Milan, to an old steel factory. All the walls are blown out, half the ceiling is pared down, and there's beautiful kind of dusky sunset happening, and it just starts to rain, which really cuts through the heat. It is really, really stonking hot in Milan right now, so there's amazing romanticism coming through, amazing set as well. So all down the line of this beautiful old steel factory, right down the end there's two copper poles and a light going through it. And then some amazing piles of kind of grey cobbles with smoke coming through them. It's really dramatic, but in a really romantic kind of industrial way. I'm so super impressed as soon as we come in. Already on the Instagram, I was kind of snooping on Zegna's Instagram before the show started. We were getting told that there would be something new for Zegna, kind of a move away and really utilising the archive, what you have. They had a hashtag that was something like using what already exists. Which I was really intrigued by, and all these kind of graphic images of the steel factory, or the old steel factory, and all this industrial kind of steel work. So really excited, everyone takes their seats. I wanted to say first off as well, Zegna has some of the best kind of marketing in terms of celebrity campaigns and who they choose to sit in the front row. Last time I did this live review I was talking about Javier Bardem and Dev Patel, and both of them being really great kind of signifiers of what the brand stands for. And this season, one of the most diverse and inclusive celebrity front row I've ever seen. It was kind of Riz Ahmed, Joan, Poulter. There was loads more, but I can't remember all of them. But it was absolutely brilliant, and I feel like that Zegna absolutely hits the nail on the head with kind of creating this mood and this aura, and all these kind of catering to all these different men. And when you look at all the celebrities that are invited, I feel like every luxury male shopper can kind of place themselves in one of the categories. Kind of, I feel like I embody this, I kind of feel like I embody that. So I think it's incredibly smart and wonderfully inclusive. So I was very impressed with that, and they all look very sharp. So let's talk about the fashion. Straight away, we can see that something's a little bit different for Zegna. The colour palette alone is really much more softer, much more calmer, got this real pastel-y tone around it. Slightly beigey looks to start with as well. And what I noticed is a kind of mood change for Zegna. Normally there's a little bit of a power to it, particularly at the station, but this was much more softer, much more comforting. And the suede textures as well, I felt like really kind of gave you this warm, holding feeling. And also the fabrication, so that suede I'm talking about, in wonderful bombers and trousers, gives you this inviting textural feeling. And fabrications, as we know, are kind of synonymous with the House of Zegna. The Zegna House started from kind of textiles and still does supply a lot of textiles around the world. So these fabrications are really important, and I feel like they really came through with these beautiful tones that we started to see. Some also really interesting fabrications were kind of crinkle cut suits in different pastels, and that kind of textured with these amazing ribbed kind of flat caps that looked a bit like 90s Kangol hats, but given a little bit of an art beatnik vibe, which I thought were brilliant. And actually this kind of artistic vein carried throughout the collection. It felt like a sometimes 70s, sometimes 90s kind of artist at work in a warehouse aesthetic, but still very luxury, still very elevated, still very demure. So I was really impressed in this kind of new way that Zegna was going, and I feel like what has happened in previous collections is that really trying to tailor to a slightly younger market with kind of novelty trainers and the Triple X, and there were certainly elements that will appease to a younger market. They have a new trainer called the Claudio, I believe, and that's entirely customizable, but in customizable still very much with luxury in mind. So kind of beautiful leather trimmings, and you get to pick all those wonderful accents. So I think it's a really, really brilliant collection. It's so smart the way they're thinking about each customer, but still keeping it incredibly true to the House of Zegna, because actually they seem to be doing incredibly well. I believe Zegna is one of the most successful luxury houses there is, which is kind of incredible. But take all that aside, the clothes were really fantastic. I love the colorways, the suiting was brilliant. That crinkled suiting I was talking about earlier gave you this kind of lived-in element. As well, some of the bomber jackets were in slightly more windbreakery stylings, but actually the fabrications were in this really beautiful, sheeny, kind of rusty gold. So I love that combination of slightly, ever so slightly athletic, but still with the really essential luxury tones in colours and fabrication and fit as well. The fit of everything was just spectacular. And also I have to mention these boots as well. So I mentioned the trainers, but there's some really gorgeous boots which had kind of almost a mock cap on them. And that with the kind of crinkled suits and the little artist hats, I'm going to call them artist hats, but that's what I've decided they are. Artist hats, and also some patterning on some of the jackets and full suits, and also all down the back of coats. It looked like either steel paneling, or at one glance it kind of looked like an aerial shot of fields from England, but I know it wasn't. So there was lots of beautiful kind of, for me it felt really artistical, that's not a word, artisty, what am I trying to say? Arty, thank you. Arty, and there was just all these elements of someone kind of painting up in the workshop and kind of making a little bit of a mess, and I can't tell if that was a steel factory or all the different prints that we saw and the different textures, but it felt very lived in, very wearable and very gorgeous, and still ultimately incredibly luxurious. So I was thoroughly impressed. So congratulations Zegna if you're watching, brilliant show, great start to Milan, very excited for more to come from the city. Please do subscribe so you don't miss any more of those live reviews to come. You'll get a little notification if you subscribe, and make sure to visit Show Studio so you can watch the amazing Zegna show that I've just described. See you guys soon.